Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 18 Wheels to Wings. This is my channel slash journal on my progress from going a professional truck driver to a professional pilot. My last video was quite a while back, and I know I haven't updated in a while. And to be honest, I just haven't had time. There's been so much going on between the flying, the working. This is the busy season for us over here at Walmart. The real busy season. So it's just been a madhouse, and I just haven't had a chance to do an update video. So here I am doing it now. Let's see, where was I? So on the last video, I was pre-solo. I think I was just under 20 hours, around 17 or something like that, 17, 18, somewhere in there, and I hadn't soloed yet. So where am I at? Well, I got a couple of things here. First off, I have soloed. That was my shirt tail. I soloed in November 98082 at KPWM, and I took off on runway and landed on runway 11. It was exciting. I loved every minute of it. Problem was, it became real gusty after I went up, and I was only able to do one lap solo. So my solo day wasn't like, whoa, crazy, but it was still awesome. It was everything I hoped it would be. And it was fantastic. For some reason, I got a lot more relaxed without the instructor in the right seat. And it felt great. November 98082 is a Cherokee. I'm now training in a Warrior, which is basically a Cherokee, just a little bigger. A little bit more stable. I like it. It's a great airplane. Anyway, so yeah, solo out of the way. Where am I at on all my other stuff? Well, got ForeFlight, got all my log hours here. I am up to a total of 32.6 hours so far. I am right on track to get scheduled for my check ride as soon as I hit the threshold of all my hours. So what do I have left? I've got all my night stuff. I haven't done any of my night flying yet, which actually I'm going to knock out tonight. My instructor says we're just going to go up and we're going to spend 3 hours in the air or more, and we're going to get all our landings done. We're going to do we're going out 51 nautical miles from base and coming back. So we're going to knock out the cross country, the landings, everything. All the nighttime stuff's going to get done tonight. So after tonight, I'll be up to probably 35 and a half, or almost 36 probably. And then what do I have left after that? Well, let's take a look. Once we knock all that out of the way, all I really got left to knock out is my solo 150, which we've been trying to get in. Living in the great Northeast, weather hasn't been ideal a lot of the time that I've been able to try and get out. They want to have me do a checkout flight. I've already done one solo cross country, but it wasn't the 150. It was only 100 nautical mile. I went out and back by myself. It was great. Good time. But they want to get another set of eyes on me at the school that I'm using before I do my 150, which, okay, it's fine. I mean, some people argue, oh, why do you need that? You've already done, the 100 mile, and you seem to be competent. I get it. And I could probably try and fight harder, but this is just the way the school's structured. It is Part 61 that I'm doing. However, they are a Part 141 school as well, and they use the syllabus from the 141 in the 61 training, and they like to follow that procedure as well. So while I don't have necessarily any checkouts that I have to do, I do have to follow what they want to do as far as, hey, we're going to send him 150 miles by himself. Let's get another set of eyes on him just to make sure we're not missing anything. I'm fine with that. I'd like to get another set of eyes just to see if I'm lacking in one area or another that maybe my instructor's not picking up on. So, yeah, it cost me a little bit more, but that's fine. Speaking of costs, I know that's obviously a big point of concern for a lot of people, including myself, that work full-time. Maybe you're later in life. Maybe you're not later in life, but concern is a huge thing. You see a lot of these three-letter schools, ATP, whatnot, that are charging over $100,000, $120,000 for all the ratings, 0 to hero. Obviously, I'm just in private. But where am I at right now? I have spent a roughly, I'm probably around 8,000 in currently. Um, Now I did put 10,000 into my account through the school, which garnered me an extra $1,000 bonus that they contribute. So 10,000 turned into 11,000. Plus I had put a little bit into it before I did that, and I've still got just under 4,000 left in my account. So yeah, right around eight. And taking into account what I have left to accomplish before I'm ready for my check ride, we should be somewhere. It might use the rest of this, if I'm being honest. Which will put me total, if everything goes right, check ride gets scheduled and I pass all that. I'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of what, 14 to 15,000 for my private, which isn't the greatest. It's not the worst. But I feel like the training's been good, and I can't really find in my area a quality school that's charging less for airplanes, because that's the big one. I elected to do most of my training in this Cherokee, which for me is 200 an hour. And I know a lot of people like, oh, fine, a Cessna 152. For one, I'm a big guy. I don't fit in a 152 or a 150. Like, between me and the instructor, it's too big. So that's not possible. Plus, a lot of schools in this area don't use those. There's one school in the area, but they're not charging really low rates for those. It is what it is. It's just not the area. And I know, well, people are like, oh, well, go somewhere else. I can't, dude. If you watched any of my other videos, if you know anything about what's going on, I have to work full time. I have a house, a mortgage, 3 kids, lots of responsibilities. I can't just up and leave. It's not happening. So I have to do it as close to home as I can. This was the best place for me. So it may cost me a little bit more in the end, but I feel like the education that I'm getting is a quality one. And my instructor is definitely not trying to, bleed money from me. He's definitely not doing that. Like, he's ready to sign off on me as soon as I hit all of these times. As soon as all of these times are checked off on my logbook, he's ready to sign off, which will be damn near just after 40 hours. Now, I know the national average is somewhere between 60 and 70, typically, to get your PPL. But, I mean, I'm not patting my own back or anything here, but obviously I'm grasping things well if he's already ready to sign me off. Obviously, getting scheduled with the DPE is going to be another issue altogether. He's telling me right now that the guy's scheduling out 2 months. So maybe I can get on a cancellation list and get in there. My instructor seems to think I'm a prime candidate for doing something like that. Just any DPE in the area that gets a cancellation, like throwing me in. I know people will get nervous about stuff like that. Whatever, I'm fine. At this point in my life, like, I'm not nervous about anything like that. Throw me in. I either know it or I don't, right? So, what's next? Like I said, tonight is night flight. Hopefully we'll get all the night stuff in, so that way I don't have to worry about doing any more night stuff. Then I got to get my 150, and then I'm good to go. From there, I've only got a few more lessons scheduled. Holidays are coming up. We just had Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up. Schedules are crazy. So who knows how much more flying I'm going to be able to get in the rest of this month. And that's going to be part of the problem. I may have to wait until after Christmas to refresh myself again if I do make all these hours beforehand. But I'm not worried about that because, again, if I'm going to go ahead and get scheduled at DPE, it could be in February before I get in with them. So I'll still have plenty of time to keep myself fresh. And I won't have to go with instructors at that point. I'll have solo time. It'll all be solo time. I'll be able to work on my own stuff. I actually did that last week. I went up solo and I had the plane for 3 hours, I think, booked. And I went up and spent 2.5 and just working on everything. Working on all my maneuvers, emergency procedures. I did a bunch of laps in the pattern when I came back. And I went through the ACS and was like, okay, I need to do this, 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 and this. All right, so let's work on this. Okay, oh, stalls. Stalls were great. I'm not worried about stalls. Slow flight, not worried about slow flight. Did some ground reference maneuvers, turns on a point, S turns. That's easy enough. Emergency descents, worked on those, did a short approach, at the airport, did short field, soft field landings, practiced a couple of those. Those feel pretty good. All in all, like, I feel pretty solid on most of it. I feel safe, I guess is the better word. I don't feel like I'm making the wrong decisions, and I have no problem issuing a go around if I have to, which hasn't been often, but I have done it a few times. So I feel comfortable doing that. I feel like as long as I'm being safe, that's the biggest issue, or the biggest thing. So, what do I plan on doing after this? Well, let's get all of these all this requirements done for the PPL, get the PPL, and then I think I'm just going to try and roll right into instrument. We'll see what happens, because my first class medical is due in March, and I will be post 40 years old at this point, so it's only good for 6 months, and it's a special issuance. So we shall have to see how that goes. So depending on when my check ride gets scheduled, if it's in, say, February, my first class is due in March, I may not jump right into instrument. I may still try and do some time building, accrue some hours, because obviously I still would need to get to 250, right? Just to wait and see how the medical goes. I'm going to go see a new AME, so we'll see how that goes. Plus, it's only good for 6 months. Ugh. God, getting old sucks. So, yeah, if all schedule things work out great, we get the check right in February, get the first class reissuance in March, then we'll roll right into instrument following that. And then, the weather around here will start getting better, ideally. We just had, 8 inches of snow last night. I was supposed to fly yesterday. It was an all-day snowstorm, so there was no flying yesterday. But today's beautiful, and tonight's, there's no wind, clear. The sky should be pretty good, so tonight looks great for my night flight. But that's where I'm at right now. I know it's been a minute since I've updated, and that's the update for now. Any questions, comments, concerns, show of support, whatever it is, tips, tricks, hints, whatever you got for me, go ahead and leave it down below. But otherwise, I'm going to call that a wraps on this video, and hopefully it won't be so long before the next update. So we'll see you later.